Well, everyone seemed to enjoy the DC Trinity video where I decided to take different heroes around the DC universe to create different versions of the Trinity. So I thought, why not do that exact same concept except with DC villains? So to make things easier for myself, I originally was just going to come up with different concoctions of teams using different villains, but then I thought, why not make these Trinities based off of the Trinities I made in that previous video? And I will say, if you guys have not seen that previous video, I do suggest you check it out now before watching this one. So with that being said, I obviously have 8 teams. Let's jump right into it. Before we get into the real first team, I do have 2 honorable mentions right at the beginning. We're not going to get too deep into them. I'm just going to mention them. They are specifically for the Trinity: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Those 2 teams are Lex Luthor, Joker, and Cheetah, General Zod, Ra's al Ghul, and Grail. With this first team, they are obviously the most popular villains of each respective character. You could argue maybe Ares is more popular than Cheetah. However, I think Cheetah might be the first villain that people grab onto when they think of Wonder Woman villains. And also, I didn't want to make that team too ridiculously overpowered, with also the fact that Ares probably wouldn't work well in a team like that. He's too big for them. Then General Zod, Ra's al Ghul, and Grail. This is a team that I think is definitely the warrior mentality. This is a villainous trinity that would show them who is the apex of each respective species of their kind, to also more than likely better the positions of General Zod and Ra's al Ghul, maybe even Grail with an apocalypse. There's a lot of stuff you can do there, but very quickly, I wanted to start with those honorable mentions. Going up against Green Lantern, Flash, and Green Arrow, we have a trinity of Sinestro, Gorilla Grodd, and Vertigo. Fear, control, and manipulation, each commanded through their own regime, but now together to stop their greatest hero foes. Each character here represents a different type of threat. You have a cosmic threat, you technically have a metahuman threat, and you also have a street level threat. And it works perfectly with Green Lantern, Flash, and Green Arrow. With these 3 characters' power sets, each of them would be able to threaten and counteract their respective villains, but also be able to tag team in and out with other characters. Vertigo wouldn't always need to take on Green Arrow. He could switch sides and go after the Flash. Sinestro could go after Green Arrow instead of going after Green Lantern. Their power sets are very particularly suited to be able to fight everybody on the team. It wouldn't just be 1v1s. I think this team is diverse and versatile enough to make it very interesting. I could have easily gone with Eobard Thawne or Merlin and make it speed on speed, archer against archer, lantern against lantern, but I wanted to change things up here a little bit, and I do also think this team makes more sense personality wise and would probably be more willing to team up with one another. For the next trinity, going up against Nightwing, Wally West Flash, and Donna Troy, I have Deathstroke, Hunter Zolomon, and Troia / Deathbringer, and I have a very specific reason why I've done that, and I'll get there. Each character here has a specific dislike or hatred to respectively Nightwing, Flash, and Donna Troy. Deathstroke is peak human physicality for Nightwing. Zoom's slightly different power set would make it an altered challenge for speed against the Flash, and Deathbringer is what happens when a hero full of wonder becomes twisted against Donna. Their main goal here would be to ensure that these top tier legacy characters would never match up to the level that their mentors did. With the Troia Deathbringer thing, these are kind of 2 different situations of characters all within Donna Troy. How I would want this to work is I like the look and the idea of Deathbringer, but I also like the futuristic timeline that Troia comes from, which I believe is 1400 years in the future, where she is just a genocidal dictator. Maybe you could bridge both of those evil versions of Donna Troy together, and when Hunter Zolomon comes back from the future, he stumbles across this evil version of Donna, realizing it would help him on his quest to defeat Wally West. And when getting to the modern day, they come across Deathstroke, who also has a like-minded hatred against Nightwing. All of them can see, for example, if Nightwing let go of his morality, he would turn into Deathstroke. If Wally West was as jaded as Hunter Zolomon, he'd become Hunter. Donna Troy's legacy originally intended to be bred evil. If that one day came true, who she became under Wonder Woman's tutelage will never last. And these characters have to realize that with this villainous trinity, that's exactly what they're trying to get from them. Next, for Martian Manhunter, Kyle Rayner, and Supergirl's trinity, the villainous trinity they'd be going up against is Malefic, Amon, and Blackstarr. Keeping within the cosmic ideas, this team's alliance exists to spite their foes and reject their titles and their reputation. Driven by their deep personal beliefs, no matter how evil and twisted they might be, specifically their motivation for supremacy and extremist views, it's important to them because that comes with the removal of Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, and Supergirl, which would also bring them to their first step of actualizing and realizing their corrupted viewpoints. Blackstarr is a character I actually had to dig down pretty deep in Supergirl's lore to find her. I could have went with someone more popular, but why not use someone rare? Blackstarr is very specifically a cosmic villain who supported the Nazi movement, and I think to go with more of that cosmic nature fitting alongside Malefic and Amon, you would have to rewrite Blackstarr in a way where maybe she still has that same type of mentality, but if Supergirl on her cosmic travels before coming to Earth perhaps encountered Blackstarr on another planet, so maybe she is still that type of zealot, but for another planet, another species, and another movement. Along with Blackstarr, I think these other characters have that same type of passion, being able to control and weave their power in ways where what they say goes. Their rules make up the change of the world. Amon with the Black Circle, intergalactic crime gang, and Malefic with how he believes the Martians should continue after the death of their species. Next, going up against Zatanna, Raven, and Wonder Woman's trinity, we have the villain trinity of Felix Faust, Klarion the Witch Boy, and Circe. Each character here is obviously a master at the magical arts, but all have a certain expertise in different facets of arcane knowledge. They have a shared dislike or even hatred when you combine order and magic. They don't believe that magic should have an order per se. They believe the strongest and the smartest in magic survive, and they are definitely not afraid to shake the balance. I believe they would want to create a timeless, eternal, and immortal existence of dark sorcery, abiding by their rules, which would then span the world and stretch to realms far beyond. This team, in my opinion, is really cool. Circe obviously being a magical foe to Wonder Woman. And like we said in that previous video, Wonder Woman has over the years become a little more magical in her mythos. But how much cooler would this now be if you are using absolute Wonder Woman within that trinity? This is now 3 magical beings against another 3 magical foes, enemies. I think it's cool too because we already know the relationship of Wonder Woman and Circe in many different continuities and variations of the character. Then you have Zatanna and Felix Faust, 2 characters who have the power of magic beyond the comprehension of knowledge of any regular human being, and now it's within both of their possessions, one for good, one for bad. Raven and Klarion, which I know he's more than just a boy, but you can still kind of relate into instances where he as a boy and Raven once as a teen, now probably an adult in this team, both of these people have had these types of powers from adolescence and how they've grown with it and how both of these characters have used what they have in various and vastly different ways. Then for the trinity of Black Canary, Batgirl, and The Question, I decided to go with Black Mask, White Canary, and the Calculator. Organized crime and calculated control over their domain, they have whoever they wish to have on their side and in their pocket. They are a I know you're guilty, I just can't prove it type of situation. Their resources are probably so expansive, and how they've been able to network behind the scenes has become so developed. They could do things without ever getting caught, or without perhaps even ever getting their hands dirty. This team is much more about precision and striking at the right time. It makes them a great trio to be faced up against a Trinity that is all about investigation and detective work. This is a rather interesting team because you have Black Mask, who is running various networks around the city. He's a wealthy millionaire hiding things in plain sight. He has all of the authority and judicial systems at his side. There's really no way to get at him without some real hard evidence. And the Calculator is somebody who's gonna be at his side, covering up his tracks at all times, making sure that nothing can be tied back to him. And then you could use White Canary as his personal hitman, right-hand woman, somebody who despises with every fiber of her being Black Canary. Then for Power Girl, Mary Marvel, and Captain Atom, I gave them a villainous trinity of Queen of Fables, Divine, and Major Force. Once again, just like that hero trinity, this is a villain trinity that is very unexpected in who's teaming up together. Twisting and corrupting stories, the Queen of Fables would use the Divine's cloned backstory, and Major Force's nuclear killing machine as a mirror image to Power Girl and Captain Atom gone wrong. They are a mixture of nightmarish tales, destruction for fun, and engineered hatred. I think this is a perfect villainous team for a group of hero characters who really symbolize the ideals of heroism, but they're now shown a darker side of who they are and who they could be. With Power Girl, the Divine is trying to show her who she really is in this new world. You don't belong here. Captain Atom is seeing himself in Major Force. What if I am this uncontrollable nuclear weapon who is no better than Major Force and is only better used as a living weapon? Maybe even Mary Marvel getting strung along, confused, or even partially convinced that, yeah, she truly will never live up to what Billy Batson is. She'll never be seen as a Marvel at his level. That is what this team, I personally think, would be doing, especially from Queen of Fable side of things. It's sowing doubt. Now for Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and Firestorm, I went with Black Beetle, John Carter or Supernova, and Deathstorm. These three characters are Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and Firestorm at their worst, masquerading as heroes in disguise. Highly advanced tech, time warping, and nuclear power. They are a disaster waiting to happen, especially for their respective heroes here. This team's goal would be about reshaping who they think belongs in this world and who should have all the glory. With Deathstorm, what I've decided to do here is it's not Earth 3 Deathstorm. I went with this idea on what if something happened to Firestorm years later in the future, something that he could not even keep account of. And the more he used his power, what if it was nuclear decay? It did eat away at Ronnie or Jason Martin Stein, and they one day became a shell of their former selves, completely dominated by the Firestorm gene, now going by Deathstorm, constantly hungry and feeding for more nuclear power. So now you have Blue Beetle, who needs to keep the hatred at bay within Black Beetle, Booster Gold, who needs to keep the jealousy of his father away and perhaps even bring him back to the time he belongs in, then Firestorm, realizing that not only do I have to defeat my future self, after this I have to ensure that whatever happens to me in the future, I course correct. And then last for the video, but certainly not least, we're looking at Aquaman, Shazam, and Hawkgirl's Trinity, and their evil trinity is Dr. Sivana, Black Manta, and Shadow Thief. A power-obsessed driven team that will stop at nothing to defeat and humiliate the ones who oppose them. Science, magic, military skills, Atlantean tech, and complete control of shadows. Even if they're not as powerful as their heroic foes, they certainly have all the talents and skills needed to outsmart them. This may not be the flashiest team outside of Black Manta, but they're unpredictable and vile enough to do things that even their respective heroes would not be ready for. I think Shazam, Aquaman, and Hawkgirl all have something that perhaps Dr. Sivana would want. They have a multitude of powers and mythological essences about them that he wants to know more about in general. Black Manta finally wanting to be rid of Aquaman, and Shadow Thief finally wanting to outsmart and finally gain the upper hand on Hawkgirl. But there you go. Those are my 8 versions of DC's Evil Trinities based off of the other versions of the Trinity I gave you in that previous video. So now, before ending it, what is my favorite villainous trinity that I've made out of these 8 teams? Just like the last one, I went with a top 3. In all honesty, I like all of them, but if I was forced to choose, this is who I'm going with. Not in any particular order, but I personally like Felix, Faust, Klarion the Witch Boy, Circe, Queen of Fables, Divine, and Major Force, along with Deathstroke, Hunter Zolomon, and Troia / Deathbringer. I think what's really making me like that team too is an evil Donna Troy that's really sticking out to me there. But you guys in the comments below, let me know what your favorite team of the 8 I created here, and you personally, who would belong in your evil DC Trinity. That is all I have for you on this video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next time, I will talk to you all very soon.